Welcome to the Don Serious Show. Whether you're a curious mind or someone seeking inspiration, the Don Serious Show is your go-to destination. We promise to ignite your curiosity and leave you with fresh insights after each episode. So subscribe, tune in, and enlighten your mind.
I didn't know Mexicans could make some good fried chicken. I thought it was just fajitas and burritos and yeah, I didn't feel like they could make no good fried chicken. I look at them like
they make good chicken. Period. They make good chicken for them tacos and chimichangas and enchiladas and a whole lot. Okay.
I like they flounders. I just found out about flounders, so I give them some credit on the flounders. But she said they running Popeyes like fuck what the black people was doing. I don't know. I might have to come
Man,
to
all
Houston.
the other Popeyes around here, it just wasn't good. But it is a marked difference between Popeyes in Louisiana and Popeyes in Texas.
Yeah, and you know what? The Popeyes over the trucking world, that is like the worst Popeyes. Them niggas shit is garbage. Trash. I ain't gonna lie. I be like psyching myself up like maybe this Popeyes tastes better than the one that was in this state, and you know, nah. I'm glad I'm hitting the record, but this some behind the scenes shit. Like you see how my sister be bullying me? That's right, because she's older than me. How about that one? High, low. That was a good one. That's a good jab back at her. All right.
Exactly, right, because I'm gonna get one of my good girlfriends to do my show with me. She's a vegan. She has a little business called a Soulful Vegan.
Yeah.
When I tell you anything soul food, that heifer can make it vegan.
Like mac and cheese?
Vegan.
Okay. What about green?
If you can think it up, she can make it vegan.
I want them turnip and mustard and collard greens with no.
I have eaten so many things. Like she made me some vegan egg. It was some kind of egg rolls. It was like supposed to be like cheeseburger kind of egg rolls. But I mean, man, that girl can cook. She can cook, and she do it all vegan.
See, I'm used to it. Every time I go to Atlanta, I always go to Soul Veg, which is by some Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was gonna say, did you know about the Israelites in the West End?
Yeah, that's Soul Veg. That's them.
That's what. Okay, so
they do vegan soul food.
Yeah, they sure do. They got cornbread.
I've been and anytime I go to Atlanta, if I have time to stop, that's where I like to stop. It's Soul Veg. I'm not even a vegan, but I definitely will eat their food. And plus, also, it's a black business. Like that little area over there, they have like a little herb shop, you know what I mean? Get you some alkaline water and stuff like that.
Black soap.
And then across the street from there is Soul Veg.
Okay.
In the West End.
But I was gonna get her. She's a nurse too, so I was gonna get her to. We were gonna do like a wellness show on cooking and health.
Well, look at it. You know what? I'm glad you're here because this is the first time I'd have had 3 people on the show at one time. 3 people. Like that nigga say, don't play with me, partner. What that nigga baby said? All 3 of you. But hey.
All 3 of y'all.
All 3 of y'all. Yeah. So, welcome to the Don Serious Show. I am your host, Don Serious, and I'm here with my phenomenal co-host, Queen Super Duper, and I got a returning special guest. That is Nurse Milli J, and I would like to welcome y'all to the show. Thank y'all for joining me on this episode.
Of course. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, and guess what? You are here to help us, let us know, can a better health improve a better sex life? That's what I really want you here for. Real talk.
Absolutely. Health and sex is one and the same, So it's going to be mental health, physical health. I believe in a whole mind, body, and soul kind of thing when it comes to sexual health because it all starts in the mind. Of course, sex starts in the brain. You have to be turned on for everything else to start working. I don't know why people don't realize that, but you have to be at least mentally there to really enjoy. But one of the most
I was trying not to think about it while you was talking. Okay, go ahead. Okay.
But my
You know,
thing
because
is,
it does start there. We can talk about that a little later,
It
but
sure do.
to speak to, some of the things that I feel like people don't pay enough attention to is their physical health and eating habits and exercise and how all of that goes along with making sure that you have a really good sex life, especially people at a well, you know what? I'm gonna take that back. It's not just us at a certain age. That's across the lifespan.
okay, can
Amen.
we rewind a little bit, like for a second
Yeah.
here? If I was not that attracted to somebody, but if she smelt good, that's a brain thing too.
Pheromones, honey.
Man, I was around a Cuban woman yesterday, a day before yesterday, or whatever day that was. Ooh, Lord, she smelled so good. I was turned on by her like for hours.
Let me explain something to you.
Yeah,
We as humans are nothing but animals. So you know how a dog can smell a female dog
yeah.
and now they in heat? It's something
Mm.
about that scent that attracts you and makes you want to mate with that person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely want to do
Same
some
things
mating.
happen with male and females that give off pheromones that signal you to want to mate. Now, I ain't trying to be funny, but I know both of us, all of us, have seen somebody that is not that appealing to the eye, but it's just something about them.
She wasn't that appealing to the eye, but the way she
But
smelled
it's
though,
something about them. They give off certain pheromones that attracts us to them. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we're nothing but animals. She probably would have been good for you to mate with. Your body, your signals are saying they could procreate together.
yeah, like I could do some performances. You know what I mean? Like for real, procreate definitely yes. But now
Yeah.
we can move forward now. I just want to rewind about the brain because we talking about the fitness and diet and lifestyle choices. Yeah, let's do this.
Yes, but especially in I can speak toward our black community a little bit more because I am a black woman from the South. Your diet is so very important. Can you pause it right there? I gotta put this dog out.
Yeah,
You can cut me out.
yeah, I could just
Get out.
edit. No, we yeah.
You was gonna hear dog feet tiptoeing in there. Okay,
Like,
I'm back.
no, but that's a real show though. Fuck it, you know what I mean? Let's continue.
Okay, so now I can start back, just being a black woman from the South and how we kind of center everything we do around let's eat good, and we eat all those really high calorie meals, high fat meals, even if it's meant to be nutritious like greens. By the time we put all that bacon fat and everything in it, we killed all the nutritional value, but it was good. And then we eat so much till we just go to sleep afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And see, I'm a little bit mad at myself because before I started driving trucks, I was a vegan. Well, what they call that when you eat fish too? It was I never get that word right.
Pes-
Pescatarian.
pescatarian.
Pescatarian. Yes, I was a pescatarian. I ain't want to say another word and look bad on my own show, but I was a pescatarian. Yes, thank you. And I didn't do any dairy, or I didn't do any chicken, beef, ham, pork, all of that kind of stuff. It's the Muslims say, the black Muslims, swine. I don't think I ever heard an Arab call pork swine, but anyway, side note. So yeah, I learned by being a vegetarian or pescatarian that raw vegetables are the most healthiest way to eat it. And then
Right.
when you was elaborating about the food we cook, like that's why they steam vegetables so it can have a little snap to it, a
Still
crunchiness
have
to
some
it.
snap, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now
And
I'm
I
not
heard
trying to talk people out of eating meat. That's not what I'm saying.
no, no, but what I'm saying is like when you
Yeah.
saying when you cooking like the healthy side of the food, like the vegetable side of the food, like we just cook it all the way down and we kind of like not really gonna get the full
Nutrients.
benefits, nutrients from it. Yeah, okay.
Right.
I learned that from being a vegetarian, Presbyterian.
Yeah.
I will never forget that word now because y'all done helped me remember Presbyterian. That's why I keep saying it.
But like I was saying, I am not advocating for people to stop eating meat or whatever. What I am advocating for is for us to take better health, better control of our diets, because eating like that runs up your blood pressure. So your blood pressure, diabetes, those are two of the biggest chronic diseases that affect us and also have a big effect on your sexual health because both of those diseases deal with your circulation and your blood flow and everything like that. So when we start learning to take better care of ourselves for diabetes, that's diet control. Okay. All of that is about
Okay.
controlling your diet. Getting keeping the carbs down, getting good exercise, keeping your good blood flow, to make sure that we're just not eating sweets and falling asleep.
Okay. Okay.
Did my frame freeze for a minute?
It just went out, but it's
Okay.
cool. It's cool. Like I got superb editing skills.
Okay, so then I talk about, keeping your blood pressure down. Eating those meals that's high in salt and high in fat keeps your blood pressure high. And circulation is key to a good sex life. And I'm not just talking about for men, for women also. Because, see, during the sexual response, when we're stimulated, what happens during the erection? The blood has to flow to that member for you to get a good erection.
Uh-huh.
Same thing with a woman. For you to be turned on, blood still flows there also. So if your blood pressure is off and you're having to take blood pressure medicines, that mess with your blood flow and circulation. Also, diabetes, when your blood sugars are high, what happens in the body when your blood sugars are high, it leaves these little crystals on each one of your blood cells. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So that's how they count. You hear people with diabetes say a A1C.
Yeah, I heard that before. I remember
Okay.
that.
So a A1C is a 3-month picture of what your blood sugars look like. All right. So anything like 6 and above, like around 6, that's pre-diabetic. If it gets over that, that is full-blown diabetes. But it all can be changed with a good diet. But let me get back to what I'm saying about circulation. So it leaves these little crystals on your red blood cells, right?
Okay. Okay.
So when your blood sugars are high, these crystals kind of accumulate on there and it keeps the blood flow from little capillaries like the tips of your fingers, your eyes, your toes, because it takes further for the blood to flow to the end points of your body,
Is that
right?
called neuropathy?
That's exactly what I was about to talk about. That's when people get neuropathy because their blood sugars have stayed high for so long, they're not getting good circulation in the tips of their fingers, in their toes. And what else is not getting good circulation if it's not flowing there?
Yeah,
Mm.
your
Your
genital
sexual
area.
organs,
That's
your
right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
genitals.
so
Mm-hmm.
it delays sensation and things like that. And those
Oh,
are some of the things we don't even think about when we eating good and all of that. You want a long, well, for me, I don't know about anybody else. I want a long, happy sex life. you know.
you ain't lying about that. I'm sorry if I.
And over time, when we haven't taken care of our bodies, it affects your sex life. It affects everything.
So, what are some of the foods you suggest that can enhance your libido? Remember we was talking about that some episodes way back then. Libido. That's how you said it. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, I'm a big, I feel like getting good vegetables and fruit intake is really good. Of course, anytime you can eat lean meats for your protein, that's always going to be good. So I don't have a developed diet that I think anybody should follow. I just
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like they should eat things in moderations. I'm not saying don't ever eat anything sweet or anything like that, but do it in moderation so you can stay healthy. My biggest thing is we need to get up and move our bodies and exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That
okay.
and that's what a lot of people don't do. And I get it. Life gets so busy. You work all day, so now you're tired, and you don't want to exercise or do things like that. But sometimes you can our leisure times, you can kind of couple that around some exercise. You know what I'm saying? If you with somebody you love or whatever, instead of let's just lay up watch TV, let's go on a walking date. Let's go walking.
That sounds pretty dope
What's
though.
wrong with that? Huh?
That sounds pretty dope because you like getting to know somebody, you talking, you communicating at the same time. You like killing more than two birds with one stone. You walking, you burning
Yeah.
calories.
I gotta get
You,
back to it, but I was really making it a big, part of my day to make sure that I got my 10,000 steps in. I had bought like a mini stepper. My desk is, from when I work from home, is,
Adjustable.
yes, adjustable. It's an electric desk, with
Mm-hmm.
the lift bit built into it, and that was, yes, all of the feelings, all of the things.
Right.
There was a
I'm
direct
working.
correlation to the quality of sex. So that's the reason why I'm like, look, baby, I got to find me some time. My schedule changed and stuff like that. So I'm like, I got to find my time to make sure that I get these 10,000 steps in. Like, so I mixed it up. Like I said, I had a stepper, I had an in-home treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
This is when I found out that these cheap Chinese products. It's another conversation, and they not big girl friendly, and I ain't that big. I'm over 200, but I'm not
Right.
300 pounds or nothing like
Right.
that. But I am over 200 pounds, so I am considered overweight or mildly obese or whatever the case may be. Getting up and moving and so on and so forth is becoming a very important part of my life, not just for my sex life, but just period, just for the overall health. And
Right.
so when my schedule changed, I had a hard time, kind of transitioning. But now I'm trying to figure out, I got to get back to it, because when I was doing that measuring and getting 9,000, 10,000, 12,000 some days
Mm-hmm.
steps a
You
day.
feel good.
Yes. Yes,
You can
yes,
tell the difference, can't you?
yes, and the sensation down there is different too.
I be damn.
Right.
Hmm.
Because guess
Yeah.
what? That blood is flowing, it's moving,
Yes.
it does make for a better sex life. And I just cannot say that enough for people. That all of that matters. Your health is a physical health is a big part of it. The things that we eat and get and keeping our bodies moving, is a big part of sexual health. I actually of course, I'm about to do a shameless plug for my channel. It's Nurse Milli J, and my show is Beyond the Bedroom. And I've only put up a couple of episodes, but remember, Beyond the Bedroom. Go over there, like, subscribe.
Definitely.
Anyway, but
Yeah.
I talked about what is sexual health, right? And on my show Beyond the Bedroom, I did a thing on what is sexual health, and I talked about it a little bit. The different things that I thought encompasses the definition of what sexual health is, because it can mean so many different things to different people. Some people just think sexual health is making sure I don't have an STD. You know,
Yeah.
they think that's sexual health. But the number one thing is, like I'm talking to you guys about, is diet, exercise, and fitness. That is very important. Next thing I would talk about too, for the whole health of it, is your mental health.
We was covering that.
Because with me talking about diet and exercise, there are some people who really do need to take their medicines, right? Their diabetes medicines, their blood pressure medicines. You will be amazed how many men won't take care of their blood pressure, because the blood pressure medicine relaxes the blood vessels, which relax the blood flow, which
Hmm.
cause that member not to work the way that they want it to.
Yeah. If that man on blood pressure medication, it's a wrap. He gonna be
Yeah.
eating coochie.
Hold up, hold up. Can you?
That ain't always a bad thing. You know?
I ain't on that kind of meds at all. I ain't on no meds. Matter of fact, let me just put that out there right now.
But
So
I'm saying,
rewind
when they
that.
start
Say
taking
that
care of
again.
their health, there are still now. I'm not now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to get men not to take their medicine. Take your medicine, but get your health together at the same time, because some blood pressure
So you can
medicines,
get off the
so you
medication.
can get off the medicines or learn to manage it. You know,
Right.
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, another shameless
Yeah, because
plug. They do have
yes.
this. They have creams and things that can help in some of them cases. That's a shameless plug. We'll talk about that later. You know, I'll give you
Well,
my store name then.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
this is like the end of season 1 coming up, and so season 2 to my show is going to start in April. So I would like to challenge myself because you know that I've been talking about this shit since last year, and I don't. I think the word excuse is kind of like taken the wrong way, but I don't want to make it an excuse. But as a trucker, it has been a challenge for me to have some kind of consistency, but I don't want to be one of those guys lacking sensation or the blood ain't flowing. So I want to challenge myself. So by the time season 3 come out, you'll see a difference in me, whether it be my skin, my glow, everything. And I will definitely, and I'm making this statement, put more emphasis on it because as an older man, I don't want to be one of them kind of guys on no meds, man. Fuck that shit.
I'm telling you something. I know for a fact truckers don't get enough exercise. You eat bad.
Yeah.
Sitting, you have a sedentary job, and when they get off, you've been sitting all day. I'm tired. I'm just gonna go to sleep, because you really only have that 10 hour, because you could drive 14 hours and then you rest for 10, right?
Over the road is different than working in the oil field. I just learned
Okay.
that. So over the road, you can drive up to 11 hours and you can work up to 14 hours. That means like open
Okay.
the trailer doors, back into the docks, pull out the docks and all that paperwork. That's the 14-hour part of it. The driving is 10 to 11 hours. But in the oil field, you can work straight 14 hours driving you can just work 14 hours all the way out.
But my whole point is, you have a sedentary life. You don't
Yeah.
move.
Nah, not
You
at all.
know, you don't move. So guess what that does? That weakens your core, which you need a good core for good sexual health. It weakens your core. It weakens your pelvic muscles. You need that too for good sexual health. So those are things that you need to concentrate on. That's men and women. You need a good core and a good pelvic floor for good sexual health. It
Yeah, that makes
makes
no
a
sense.
difference.
I see
It
where you're
really
coming
does.
from.
It makes a big difference in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not telling you that you need to jump off the truck and run around, but whenever you can purposely move your body around, you can do it. You should try to do it.
I would
Agreed.
just like to say really quickly that whoever solves that problem for truckers is going to make a lot of money, because that is a problem. And that's how millionaires and billionaires are made, is by solving problems. Because I haven't heard anybody, and I've been around a lot of truckers for a long time, solve offer like a real viable, consistent solution for people who are truck drivers to kind of combat the sedentary lifestyle, also in the wear and tear of being a driver. You know what I
With the
mean?
wears on their backs, they
Yes,
all have bad
yes.
back.
And whoever solves that problem, I'm talking about, they gonna be a rich motherfucker, okay?
One
And
thing that truck drivers, they need to wear some doggone compression socks.
Is wool socks considered compression socks? Is it close to
No,
compression socks? Oh, I know what a compression
no,
sock
a
is.
compression
compression
socks
sock is a
considered
compression
compression
sock.
socks.
Mm-hmm.
Both of y'all
Yeah, a
gonna have to send it to
compression
me one
sock
time.
is a compression sock. It said on the package when you buy it.
Okay. Yeah, I feel y'all
You
though.
you want to know why you should wear compression socks?
Please tell the viewers and myself.
Okay, the reason why you should wear compression socks, and this even if you work from home, if you sitting, because my primary job, I sit, mostly at home, but I wear compression socks, and I do have that adjustable desk that you talked about, and a mini stepper, and a tread pad. Yes, I do. Okay, so I am practicing what I'm preaching. All right. But the compression socks is to hold compression on your legs, because your calf, every time we walk, that helps the blood circulate through our body. So it's like pushing the blood back up in your body to make it circulate. So when you're not moving around a lot, the compression socks helps the blood circulation in your body.
Okay, just like the
So
vibrate plate was shaking certain parts of your body that you're not used to the blood
it
circulating.
circulates.
Yeah.
But the
Okay.
compression socks hold it tight, and compression aid in circulation.
Okay.
Also, if I had to give a hint to any truckers about circulation, even if you're at a standstill or a stop and you're not driving and you're just sitting waiting, you need to do like foot pumps. Push your foot up and down, because then that'll kind of simulate the walking, and it'll keep your calf muscles circulating the blood back and forth. And another thing is because you sit on those seats and it starts bearing on the back of your legs. It cuts the circulation out. That's why truckers will get those swollen ankles and everything, because the
Yeah.
seat is pressing on the back of your legs, preventing good circulation.
Hey, but guess what? I'm a short guy, you know what I'm saying? So I don't even have that kind of sit down angle. I'm at a different angle, if you understand what I'm saying. So I don't even, not saying that it's an excuse, but I don't even sit that way because I have to adjust the seat a certain way.
Okay, fine. You may not have the part that's cutting off the back of your leg, but you still ain't walking. You're
That's facts.
sitting.
That's facts.
So
Nah, I
you
didn't
can
take that part away.
justify that if you want to, but it's still there.
It's cool. It's cool. It's all cool. But I do
Mr.
need.
I'm the exception. Okay.
Nah, ain't no exception sitting on your ass all day driving. There ain't no exceptions to that at all. And I definitely enjoy a healthy sex life, and I do not want to be lacking and short on performance. And I have a decade of driving, so I definitely did not know all of this stuff 5, 6, 7 years ago about trucking. And
Right. And you know what? Knowledge is power. When you know better, you do better, right?
yeah,
Right.
you could really hold yourself accountable, right?
Right.
And especially black men
Say it
need to hold
again, sister.
yourself hold yourself accountable. Get your ass in that doctor's office.
Yeah.
Please. Please get
Look
regular
at
checkup.
look at you. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it.
Because
Yeah,
Uh,
you
you
talking to
know what?
y'all
You
that.
know what? I'm gonna tell you what, black men. I feel great. I feel good. Ain't nothing wrong with me. What do they call blood pressure? I know you know, Super. The silent killer.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It doesn't give you any
And I
more.
heard something about the kidneys too. Something about a lot of ignoring of some
Okay.
very key signs,
Right.
and
Because
the
high blood pressure,
mhm,
people think, oh, they diabetic. That's why they on dialysis. Not just diabetes. High blood pressure
blood
will
pressure.
blow your
Hmm.
kidneys out.
Okay, and what is one of the leading causes of high blood pressure?
Your diet and exercise and stress.
There is no way around it. Like, I mean,
Your
if
diet,
you
exercise, stress levels.
I mean,
Now,
we're
some
talking about
people,
sexual health. We're talking about sexual health, but the key word in sexual health is not the sex, baby. It's the
it's the
health.
health.
Yeah, I got that.
It's the health. And so when you put that word in there, and it doesn't matter if you go to any health expert, they're gonna tell you what they have found is that literally, especially in America, we over here just killing
Eating.
ourselves. We literally killing ourselves every time we open our mouth and put food in it.
Yeah, because I saw a
Because
little
we're
short
because
reel from
because
that.
we're gluttonous, and also the corporations. But that's another. We're not going to get into that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to get into that. But some of it, we gluttonous in the
Mm-hmm.
corporations.
Yeah, because like when you say corporations, that's like that GMO shit, modifying organism,
Well, we ain't even got to
molecular
even talk about the
explosion.
GMO stuff. We what about the rest of the chemicals that ain't got nothing to do with that?
Yeah, I understand all of
I
that
mean,
too.
you're talking about genetically engineered stuff. That's commonplace now. You better start reading the back of them chips, okay?
Yeah.
And because we live such a fast-paced life, we want everything fast, quick, fast, quick. Nobody grows food anymore, cooks food naturally anymore. It is hard pressed to find somebody that really is growing their own vegetables and cooking the way that it was meant to be done.
Yeah.
Okay, and watch this. So we eating ourselves to death, okay? We talking about sexual health. And what comes from sex? Children.
Mm-hmm.
Population of the world, okay?
Yeah.
And then you think about what was the focus of this past election? And what's the problem? Who ain't having the children? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Speak on
they
it.
don't want they banning abortions. Okay. Why you think it ain't just cause it's some kind of moral thing? Talking about you murderers, you killing the babies. No, because they need the people to have the children. And let's talk about the mortality of black mothers who do give birth, who are giving birth, the infertility issues that are experienced by men and women,
Right.
hopefully,
Okay.
all of which got something to do with us being gluttonous and these corporations and the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, let's not go there because I would go down that rabbit hole with them motherfuckers too.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But
I would go
anyways,
down
I'm just saying, I'm just making sure that we stay, we
But
stay
you
on,
are exactly right. Our diets and
we staying on
everything,
top.
like I was saying, sexual health means so much more than let me just not get pregnant or get an STD. You're right. It's our diet, our exercise, lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? There's so many things that goes along with sexual health. Just health, period. And that's the missing part that people don't really want to focus on. They like the words, those two words put together because it sounds sexy, because it's saying sexual, but nobody wants to focus on the health part.
Yeah, because like if I put myself out there, I want my partner to be just as healthy as I want to be healthy, and hopefully we can like kind of work with each other, set examples for each other, so that way when we combine sex life and health life and physical life and our mental wellness, it would be like a really enjoyable thing. You know, it'll be
All right. I'm gonna throw some more
pleasant.
things in. Since Super, you talked about the pharmaceuticals and all that. Let's get off these drugs and alcohol and cigarettes and stuff.
I agree with that.
Affects your sexual health. Yes, it does. You know,
Yeah, yeah. Because I in the army, I took the smoking cessation class, and I got off tobacco for a long time, but stress brought it back, and I got off of it again, and stress brought it back again. So I know about the
but
smoking
why
side of
is
it.
stress bringing it back? There are other things you can do repetitively to relieve stress.
Like have sex. Okay, I don't make the news. I
I
just
knew you was
support it.
gonna say that. I knew she was gonna say that. I knew she was gonna say that. But you're right. You're right.
But you can't
And
have sex if your thing ain't working right. And I'm not saying that that's your case, but you know what I mean.
oh
You
yeah,
know,
I
I
mean,
mine
they
think
worked.
can have sex with themselves. They ain't disappoint nobody but themselves at
Yeah,
that
but
point.
yeah,
But I
at that
mean, that's
point
a
though.
whole nother story. Ain't nothing wrong with self-love.
But no, mine's work like a kickstand. When you kick it out, it's out. You know what I'm saying? So and when you So
You,
I ain't
huh,
got to worry about the not functioning part, you know. But the smoking, I do need to stop smoking tobacco. And when you brought up the alcohol, I know alcohol is not good for you because actually, when I read an article in the hospital when I was in the army doing a sick call visit, they had a 20 years CAT scan of cocaine brain, heroin brain, marijuana brain, and an alcohol brain. And marijuana was the least amount of problem, and I didn't know alcohol was third because it was heroin, coke, alcohol, then weed. And that kind of shocked the fuck out of me. I didn't know alcohol back then was that serious. And so,
alcohol depletes your body of vitamin B, thiamine, which will affect your brain, affects a part of your brain called the Wernicke's portion of your brain. And they call it Wernicke's dementia. You are batshit crazy.
You know, we know some people that I get that now. Thank you for explaining that. So I could be talking to a brick wall thinking, unless they come off that and they heal.
No, the thing about it is, it like I worked in the hospital for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
So in the hospital, when I worked with patients, and so the floor that I worked on was a heart floor, and it was the only floor in the hospital that can monitor your heart. So I was telemetry certified as a cardiac nurse. So if you're detoxing from any of those drugs and they didn't have room for you in the ER because you didn't stay too long, they send you to us. Okay. So when they sending you to us for detoxing, we're pumping you full of thiamine, which is vitamin B, because you have to replace that with a person that's having alcohol withdrawals. And a person can really die during alcohol withdrawals. I'm
Okay.
serious.
Pause
And
for a
drug
minute.
withdrawals. It can be bad.
All right. Welcome back to the Done Serious Show. After the commercial break, we are talking about how a good, healthy diet. Let's rewind. Welcome back to the Done Serious Show. We had to take a commercial break. Thank you for joining us on the Done Serious Show. I'm still here with the co-host, Queen Super Duper, and my guest is Nurse Milli J. And we're here talking about, can better health improve your sex life? And we are going to be covering this subject some more. And she was going to elaborate about how alcohol can also damage your sex life. Shall you continue?
Well, I was more so talking about how alcohol damages your brain.
Okay.
Because it depletes your body of vitamin B, amongst other things, okay? Because the alcohol drinking also damages your liver. So then you got liver cirrhosis, things like that that it can lead up to. But you were asking me about what happens with the memory and dementia. It's called Wernicke's dementia that happens because
Yeah.
people drink alcohol and it affects that portion of their brain. So any substances, like you were saying, the cocaine and meth use, and everybody, I'm not saying they loving it, but everybody's on fentanyl and ecstasy and everything else now because they want to enhance their sex life. Well, it hurts you in the long.
Yeah, we was even having discussion about people on the other stuff like Blue Chew, and because I see them Blue Chews commercials on YouTube so much, it's just annoying as hell. And you was like, nah, don't fuck with that neither, because that's damaging your body as well.
The purest and best way to help your body is, say it with me, Super, diet and exercise, right, girl?
Yes, diet and exercise.
That's the best way.
That's
And
Now
me,
really
I'm
the
not.
only way to heal ourselves, all of that. And there, I
Now
mean,
I'm not.
there's quite a few different like protocols that you can go through, but at the end of the day, the baseline is diet and exercise, what you're putting into your body and how you are moving your body,
Right.
movement and what you're consuming.
Right. Now I'm not completely against. We did talk about the blue chews, but I'm talking about for a completely healthy man. Don't just get on there just to enhance me.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think that that's okay. Just for an enhanced night, you over here taking things that you don't have to take. Now I'm
Well,
not.
well, if they are taking enhancements, is that an indication that something might be wrong, and maybe you need to go ahead and take your ass on down there to them people doctor?
But you know what? You got very young men that take it because they like, yeah, they're thinking, oh yeah, shit, I'm gonna get one of the pills. I'm gonna wear her out tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna act a fool in there tonight. That's the thought process.
Well, something is wrong with that to me, Millie J. Because for as long as well, we stated our ages before he actually started recording. We
Right,
stated our ages, right? Now I
Yeah.
know damn well y'all remember in your 20s, you was getting your back broke without no pills at the convenience store. So
you
what is
barely
going
right.
on in the year of our Lord 2025 that a 20-year-old young man needs to buy a blue pill at the convenience store to knock the Mario coins out of a
You
girl.
know what the
Huh?
difference is now? Society is hypersexualized everybody and everything. Everybody is hypersexualized. Sex is this and that. They rapping about they doing these extraordinary things, and it has these younger people just hypersexualized. Even though we did talk about our age before the recording, but back when we were growing up, it wasn't the same way. We were talking, you know, you heard, let's talk about sex and being safe with sex. Sex wasn't pushed on us the same way it is with our kids. Yeah, we had Luke, he was so horny and all that, but the way that sex is just pushed down their throats now is completely different.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fun.
I mean,
How many rappers back then was talking about taking pills and drinking like they do now?
shit, even R&B artists don't even talk about like love songs. They just talking about getting backs blown out, like even from the male version R&B artist, the female version R&B artist. It's just
But I feel like that is a facade, though. I feel like that
Yes,
is a
to sell
facade
stuff, but
because
then, but whatever they selling, you getting
men cannot
kicks.
sustain that. Men cannot, and there are some men that can, but they are not the
They
standard.
are far and in between. They are the
They are
exception
not
to
the
the rule. They are not
standard.
the
They are not
rule.
the standard. Men cannot sustain that. I mean, I done heard, this was on a court show. The young lady was talking about how the young man was, as long as they had been together, he was, it was standing up and wouldn't go down naturally, no Viagra. And then he got older, and now he get it up. It don't stay hard. Like, what is going on with our young people? And I'm just saying that men cannot sustain that because their bodies change over time, and then y'all don't halfway want to take care of your bodies. No goddamn
yeah, and
way.
even though the younger generation is getting older now, because like the people in their 30s, like even when they was in their 20s, they was turned all the way up before. Now it's crash out, but before crash out, it was like turn up. So the turn up crew, like they was substance abuse. Yeah, the turn up crew, that's what we call it. I ain't even think about that, but anyway, they was substance abuse users. So X pills, triple stacks, beans, skillets, or Skittles, and all that. That ain't no new phrase. That's the old shit now. And they was turned up on substance. So you talking about like, even remember Mike Epps had a joke about how they all confused now because they on a downer and an upper together, and it's like 1 minute they like, oh man, boys be and he's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, like so they getting older, so even in their 30s, their body probably breaking down and not functioning as if they was in their fucking late 50s or some shit. And for my generation, we were like really harped upon to not ever fuck with harsh drugs. Like I grew up in a community where we seen the crackheads and we seen the alcoholics, and we was like, man, bro, don't ever fuck with that shit, bro. And so a lot of us kind of like was able to avoid a lot of substance abuse. And yeah, so I think my generation, we performing pretty decently unless we have some serious medical issues that y'all said that us black men, we do need to address them and let that be seen. And I don't know if that's like a insurance thing or they feel like they don't
Get your
have the money.
prostate checked.
But yeah, that part too. But I don't know if they got the money for it or they just afraid to go hear the truth. I don't
I
know.
think afraid more than anything, because you have money for want to look cute and shit. You you
Yeah.
have money. You know what I'm saying? They have money to go and fake on somebody like they got it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You
Yep.
can go to a doctor's visit. Ain't nobody gonna stop you from wearing a fake ass Cuban link you done went got from the middle of the mall. You could have went to the doctor with
Let me
that.
say, okay, but you know what? The cool thing about it though, if you do go holler at your doctor or your local clinic or whatever, and you find out what the problem is, I was telling Super on an episode prior to this that I'm more into the holistic way of doing things. So I feel like if you have a healthy diet and you go get some herbs and you steam it versus, I know your palate is not going to be acceptable to some of this food. But I feel like you got to crawl before you walk, because that's how I became a vegan for 10, pescatarian for 10 years. It wasn't instantaneously. And as a trucker, I know it's going to be hard for me to just come up with a mini routine and make baby steps until I walk it out, and until I get to running this thing, and I'm actually seeing physical health change in my sex life. Because I ain't gonna lie, like, I want to perform superbly until the day I leave this earth. Because my cousin has a husband, and he's an older man, and man, that man's still getting it in, and I don't even want to put his age out there, and I don't really want to put his business out there, but I
You
don't,
did it now.
huh?
Out here in these people business. You know what I'm saying? Your cousin's gonna be like, why you in my business?
Hey, but he,
But
hey,
look,
but
I'm not saying I know you saying you go to the doctor, then you just go treat it with herbs. Some stuff does require some medicine. So I don't want you preaching. They tell you what's going on. Just go to get you some
I don't mean
herbs.
like I
Everything
don't
can be
mean just
fixed
getting the
with
herb.
herbs.
I mean, but you still got to work out though. That's the part
You
I'm
see,
saying.
but I'm just saying, sometimes some people do need some medicines and some treatments.
I got
God
that.
did put doctors on here on earth for a reason. It would be malpractice of me as a nurse to just say, hey, you don't need to listen to them. Go get you some herbs. Sometimes you got to do a little bit of all of it. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I get it. I'm not a fan
I
of
can't say you
pharmaceuticals.
just leave a doctor and start getting your herbs. You take that doggone
Well,
medicine the doctor gave you, and then you start
well,
researching and
herbs are
working on
still
yourself.
drugs, and
Huh?
some of the well, herbs are still drugs, and some of the drugs that are
So
prescription level
a
are
lot of the
based upon
medicines
those.
still have herbs in it.
They are synthetic versions of those herbs.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
and
like
I
that
mean, and
THC
that's,
pill.
but also, and I agree with Nurse Millie, that I would prefer a more natural approach, or whatever the case may be. But I think we have to put this in context. We are talking about a collective of people here in the United States that are consuming mass amount of chemicals and so on and so forth. Sometimes the damage that is done by that cannot just be simply reversed because of, because we take a holistic. I mean, that's just
Right.
the reality of it. And so, I mean, it sounds good, and I prefer it as well, but I also like to rest my conclusion in reality. And the way that they got us set up here, some of this stuff, that some of the damage that we do to ourselves, whether it's because we're consuming things like alcohol, and like, if you get cirrhosis of the liver,
Yeah, you're not holistically taking care of it.
it's some herbs that'll help you, but baby, you gonna need some synthetic and manufactured to help you get to cope with that, and it's probably not gonna be able to be reversed. Some of the
Yeah,
stuff that we do to ourselves is irreversible and irreparable,
I
Because
think
by
that's
and
the
a
so
time
point of
you
we
no
go
just
to the
have,
return.
doctor, it's so far gone.
and
Yeah, I
I
think
think
that's a
that
point of no
I think
return.
that when we say that, we just, I guess we should probably add a little bit of context to it. As long
Right.
as as long as you are not in a health situation that is too far gone, and you have the proper, knowledge of yourself, then sure, take the holistic and the most natural processes possible. And really, to be honest with you, the people are saying now, like, all these supplements and all these pills and these herbs are also not fucking needed.
Guess what?
What you need to do is
It's a
to eat the
diet.
proper food and get the proper exercise and movement, and you don't need none of that shit. None of it. Not a protein powder, not nothing. If you gonna have a herb, then it's gonna be some shit like like garlic, and you putting it and you chopping it up, and stuff like that.
I'm
It's gonna
laughing
be a
because
part of
I
your
agree with
natural
her though.
diet.
I agree with
So when people start talking about herbs now, I'm all for it if you growing your herbs and stuff like that, it's your herbs. But when you talking about the supplements, The supplements are not governed by the FDA or anything like that. The Food and Drug Administration don't do shit with the supplements. You know what I'm saying? So when you look on the back of it, you just gotta pray they really put in there what they said. You know?
See, that's a catch-22 because I don't trust the FDA, but at the same time, they do govern what you put in the shit. So that's the good side to them, but the bad side is another side. We can
I
just
mean, like, I can be telling you a
wow.
capsule full of sand, but
Yeah,
I told you
yeah,
that
that
it
is
was something else.
ashwagandha. Yeah, it's ashwagandha mixed with sea moss, and you like,
And that is nothing but sand straight off the beach.
yeah,
And
you
you
like
like,
this shit don't look like
you
no
see this
root
video
to me.
here? Yeah, you see this one here. You can see the grains in it, so you know it's real.
Yeah, and
You
I'll be
know?
like me. I'll be like, I thought sea moss was green and
You see what I'm
ashwagandha
saying?
is a plant. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm like them little Muppets and shit. Like, why this don't look like that? Yeah, but I get what you're saying though.
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
So
I'm. This is a perspective. Everything like it's no true
there's no
genuine.
definites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no definitive answer to like improving your sex life via health and exercise. But I mean, it is a lot of people out there can give
Oh, I
testimony.
don't know. I think it is. I don't know. I think it is an absolute. It is an absolute that it's your health thing. It's your diet
Well, I mean, absolute. Like, I
and your
mean,
It's
movement.
diet and
the
exercise
method you
without
take.
yeah. It's your diet and exercise can
I think that one
definitely
is an absolute. I'm not gonna hold you. And
Okay,
help
y'all,
improve.
y'all can fight me about it if you want to, but I do think that one is an absolute.
It's absolutely good to you for you to be healthy and have a good diet. That is true. But I'm just saying
yeah,
that's not
yeah,
the
yeah.
end all be all that makes your sex life, you know, if you've gone past a point, you know, that diet and exercise ain't working. Like I said, my first thing is having good physical health and a good diet. Now, I'm not telling people if they got medicine, don't take it. Take your medicine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You
I
take those
definitely
things if you
believe
need.
Absolutely.
that.
You know what
Definitely
I'm
agree with
saying?
that.
But a healthy diet and good exercise is the foundation for health, period. That's sexual health, mental health, health, period. You got to take care of your body. You have to, you know?
I agree with that because army veteran, as an army veteran, we worked out Monday through Friday. I was active duty, not reserve or National Guard.
Yeah.
No shade against them or nothing like that. But it was a big difference though, and
Yeah.
my performance was different, and you felt purer, cleaner. It felt like if you put toxins in your body, also that you could remove them quicker, even though it's a
Because
younger
you're
body though.
sweating.
Yeah, even though it's a younger body though, and I know the cells perform differently at a certain age. Because in what was that in college I took? Was it psychology? Yeah, psychology.
Yeah.
I learned that the brain and like we go through stages. Like I'm listening.
No, 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 no. I just see this child is calling me from New York, so I'm gonna end up getting off this phone soon. He called me
Okay, well,
twice.
I mean, we coming to an end, so I would like to say that we had a great episode. I like the vibe, how we covered all of this. Thank you for coming on the show, Nurse Milli J.
Anytime.
Would you
It
like to
was
say
nice
anything
meeting you,
to the
sister.
viewers?
Like I said, viewers, everybody, I do have my own channel that has just started. It's at Nurse Milli J on YouTube. My show is gonna be Beyond the Bedroom, and I'm gonna have a lot of more talks about sexual health and eating and just life and mental health. And I hope maybe I can get you guys to come on my show one day so we can continue to have the conversation over there if y'all game for it.
I'm game because you read my brain, and I was gonna ask, can we come hang out over there? It's with you at your show, but
Yes,
you already asked.
yes, yes. I would be honored to have you guys come hang out with me sometime over Beyond the Bedroom so we can just chat it out and talk and, see what people have to say.
Okay, and
I'm
I
Okay.
down.
cannot wait. Me too. I can't wait for the invite. So, Super, would you like to leave anything to the audience?
Nice to meet you.
Nice.
Yes, follow me on all socials at Queen Super Duper, Facebook, Twitter, um, Instagram, YouTube. I have a channel, Super Live. I don't know, that might change. I don't know. But anyways, that's the title of it. But you can find me at Queen Super Duper on all platforms, including YouTube. And I'm about to embark on a journey to make $10,000 a month on the internet. And so y'all are welcome to join me on that. So yes, at Queen Super Duper.
All right.
All righty then. So thank you everyone for listening and viewing the Don Serious Show. I am so gratitude and appreciative. Thank you. And until the next episode, we gonna turn up. We're not gonna crash out, but we're gonna have fun on the Don Serious Show. All right now.
All right. Goodbye.
Ciao.
Bye, everybody.
The Don Serious Show.